You know what? I'm just gonna flat out say it. The Suns are frauds. They need to be humbled. LaMickey better.
CP0 ring.
Mikal Bridges is sexy. Wait, that was not a part of the script. If you couldn't tell, that intro was a complete joke except the Mikal Bridges part. But seriously, all I've heard as a Suns fan for the last 3 days is all these things about the Suns that, oh, they're about to get humbled, they're frauds, and this just shows why, which is not even true. And in this video, I'm gonna be going over that because there were people that legitimately thought the Pelicans were gonna win in 5. What's crazy is there are still people that are confident the Pelicans are going to win the series as a whole, which is not going to happen, spoiler alert. I'm still trying to comprehend the fact that the Suns became the #1 seed in the NBA. They have the best record by far. They have an amazing team, but because of one injury that's only going to last a couple games, that we're now doubting them and saying that this proves why they're frauds is not fair and not true whatsoever. I think we honestly need to answer the question why the Suns are being doubted so much in this video, because this has been going on for a while now, and I don't know why. The Suns have proved everyone wrong this season. Even though the regular season was the regular season and they're in the playoffs, they have a pretty good chance to get to the Western Conference Finals because of who they're gonna play. With all that being said, let's get into the video. Right off the bat, I think we need to talk about that a lot of people have been saying that this is going to be determining Chris Paul's legacy and that his legacy is on the line with this series, which is just not true whatsoever. They're playing 8th seed, and obviously they're not a normal 8th seed, they're a lot better than most, but a career-defining series would be Chris Paul in the NBA Finals, or maybe even the Western Conference versus the Warriors, which, by the way, Warrior fans, y'all are fucking sad. Now, I think we need to talk about a storyline that came out a couple days ago about Chris Paul that I was about to make a video on, but I didn't want to because I knew I probably would have went off for 9 minutes and the video would have gotten taken down due to hate speech. But what if I were to tell you that Bob Cousy is better than Chris Paul? Then you'd look at me like I'm a fucking idiot. Yes, this actually happened, by the way.
He's an all-time great point guard.
Without
if
question.
he wins a championship, he's in the conversation for the greatest point guard ever. I'm not saying he's the
no, he's not. Greatest point guard. He's not Bob Cousy. He's not Bob Cousy.
Bob Cousy couldn't dribble with his left hand.
Bob Cousy changed the game.
No, but seriously, when did Bob Cousy change the game? And I know there's gonna be that one old head that gets mad at me because I never saw Bob Cousy play because he played in the 1930s. But as JJ Redick said, he played against plumbers, which is true. It's not that we're trying to disrespect Bob Cousy because you have to respect the legends, but then again, we're also not going to disrespect our legends. And by that, I mean Chris Paul, who I've honestly seen as the most slandered player on NBA Twitter for the last couple months. Now, the reason I even bring up Chris Paul's greatness is because of what happened last night, as this man took over the game, which should that even surprise you, because Chris Paul has a tendency to do this in big time games. You don't see this with a lot of players, but Chris Paul has the ability to just take over the game, whether it's passing or scoring the ball. In fact, last night Chris Paul had 23 points straight, either scored or assisted. I would also like to note that he had 19 points in the 4th quarter. What's weird is I've seen games where Chris Paul will have like 2 points in the whole game, and then when it comes to the 4th, he'll drop like 20 to 25. He's not going to average you 30 to 35 points in a game. However, he will score a light 20 to 25, and most of them will be in a clutch situation. But most casuals don't know that. They see he scored 16 points and immediately think that, oh, he's not that good. For the 3 days that the Phoenix Suns did not play, we had people legitimately thinking that Chris Paul could not lead this team and that he just wasn't that good. As much as I love the Devin Booker MVP narrative, the only thing I don't like about it is a lot of people are trying to miscredit players on the Suns, including Chris Paul and even other guys on the roster. Most people just assume that Devin Booker carries the team, which just shows how many people actually watched Phoenix Suns games. Because to put it into context, if Luka Doncic does not play good every single night, the Mavericks lose. If Nikola Jokic has a bad game, the Denver Nuggets are going to lose. If Joel Embiid or even Giannis, even LeBron James, if they all have bad games, they're going to lose the game, and that's just a fact. Sure, there's those moments where Wesley Matthews steps up for 30 points, but that's about it, and that's once in a blue moon. Meanwhile, you have the teams that are actually contending, like the Grizzlies, the Suns, and the Warriors, that if their best player doesn't have the best game, they will still be in the game and possibly even win it. I mean, the Grizzlies went what, like 20-2 without Ja Morant? I think something that we don't talk about is these championship built teams have depth on their roster, and the Phoenix Suns have just that. In fact, I think we can argue they have one of the best, if not the best bench in the NBA. Guys like Cam Johnson, who was a 6th Man of the Year finalist, JaVale McGee, who's the best backup center in the NBA. It's important to have guys like this on the roster because sure, they're not really big name guys that a lot of casuals will know, however, they are key to a championship. And after all, that is the end goal for these 3 teams. teams. Also, I forgot to add the Celtics, but those were just the first 3 teams I thought of, but the Celtics are also in that mix. The fact that we just rid off the Suns after 1 injury, after 1 game for 3 days is insane to me. It's like Devin Booker gets injured and everyone was like, oh, never mind, this team's not going to win. Like, he's only out for 2 to 3 games realistically, even if we want to play the card, oh, they can only win with Booker, which I've discussed time and time again is just not true. Also, if we're talking about the Suns game last night, we need to talk about the DeAndre Ayton masterclass we saw. DeAndre last night had 28 and 17 and just proved why the Phoenix Suns need to pay him. Ayton is due for a max extension at the end of the season, and judging by the way he stepped up this season and the way he has so far during the playoffs, I would give it to him. With Booker out and Paul only scoring about 20 to 25 points, you really need a guy like DeAndre Ayton to be able to attack these centers, and he's done just that. No one talks about this, but DeAndre is arguably a top 3 post scorer in the NBA right now. He's not a shooting center despite making a 3-pointer last night, but he's able to feed inside the paint and just get simple 2-foot jumpers. In fact, some people have called him David Robinson with the mid-range jumper, which, I mean, how far off is that? It's really not. I've been saying this, but DeAndre Ayton is going to be the X factor of the series and even more series as we move forward. I trust Chris Paul to have good games. I trust Mikal Bridges to play good defense, even guys like Devin Booker when he comes back. But if DeAndre Ayton can be that 3rd star on our team and go off and have these 20 and 10 plus games, then we're going to be just fine. Because unless the Sixers make it out the Eastern Conference and make it to the NBA Finals and happen to play Phoenix, then there's no other center in the NBA that can compete with him. There's not that many centers that can go toe-to-toe with DeAndre Ayton. I mean, Ayton is a good post scorer. He's someone that's going to be good on defense. He's everything you want in a center. He is the traditional center that every single championship roster needs. Now, is he going to get the max extension during the free agency time? I honestly don't know. With the way Robert Sarver is, there's no telling. DA could put up 30 and 10 on 70% shooting from the field, and we could just say, oh, you know, he deserves it, but Sarver might say otherwise. However, if DeAndre Ayton can use that to his ability and try to fight for the max by having these really good games, then we're going to be just fine. I know it's 1 game, and I'm not trying to say that the series is over, but the fact of the matter is, I think it's very disrespectful that we just rid off the Suns because of 1 game and because of 1 injury. Also, I was waiting for a point in the video to bring this stat up, so I'm just going to bring it up right now. We don't mention they got a very important win on the road, and we also don't mention the fact that they shot 4 for 23 from 3. Now, normally this is the part of the video where I make a joke and I over-exaggerate how bad it was, but no, they actually shot 4 of 23 from 3. Actually, I lied. We went 4 of 26. If we make even half of those, then it's instantly a blowout. Sure, you don't even have to add half of those. Add like 3 to 4 more 3-pointers made, then we win that game by a lot more. And I don't think this is going to happen every single night. I think the Suns can have games where they shoot 30 to 40%, maybe even 50% from 3. It doesn't excuse the struggles of Cam Payne or Jay Crowder shooting from 3, but it's okay. We're going to get better as the series goes on. At this point, I'm not even surprised that people have been writing off the Phoenix Suns because of 1 game. A lot of people have been waiting for this moment and they want to see Phoenix fail. And all I gotta say is, if you're writing off Phoenix right now and you're saying they're not going to win the series, hop over on to the other fucking side and don't stay on here. If you guys want to see a video where I talked about how Mikal Bridges was robbed of Defensive Player of the Year, click on the screen right now. Other than that, Suns in fucking 5.